wrote the article to try and make people aware that there are some fundamental issues with some of those management practices. The 19th century, from the industrial age, and it was very much about how to control and produce efficiency from mechanical systems like factories and production lines and that sort of thing. And that served a useful purpose in its time, but it really isn't the right way to manage human systems, and to address social problems. Development sector, that it's very much a sector where human issues and social problems are at the forefront of the work that's being done. The key thing, I guess, is to understand that there are different types of thinking toolkits that can be applied, and they should be applied to the right sort of problem. Just applying a very sort of bureaucratic and analytical management approach really is the wrong way of trying to run organisations, where the real concern is to mobilise people and to bring about innovative solutions to some fairly complex and challenging social problems. I should say that at the heart of the approach that we prefer to use is a whole different way of thinking about people and organisations and management, and it's an approach that comes from a very different tradition from the management approach that dominates most organisations today. The tradition that I'm referring to is the tradition of rhetoric, which was a whole different way of thinking and engaging people, and it was really the thinking system or thinking toolkit that enabled the great choices and decisions to be made in the earliest days of Western culture in ancient Greece, when we were first addressing problems of how to form societies in useful and productive ways. Rhetoric is really the art of creating strong arguments for how to address social issues and social problems. We have used a rhetorical approach in the work that we do. We have undertaken a project in a development sector setting here in Australia, working with a community of Indigenous or Aboriginal people in northern Queensland. The traditional approaches, using the sort of management processes that have been adopted by governments and many development agencies, was around creating 3-year plans with clear outlines of funding goals and measures for success. When we actually got on the ground and started working on a pilot program to try a different approach, we actually found that it was a very different approach that was needed. All of that thinking about programs of work and measurable outcomes and so on really went out the window, because what we realised as soon as we started to engage with the local Aboriginal people was that what they really needed was a way to do two things. One, to have a really productive conversation within their own community about their problems and how they could address them. And two, to really challenge them or encourage them to take responsibility and accountability for coming up with the answers to the problems themselves. We, instead of coming in with a program of activity that had been developed outside the community, we actually put our focus onto a process of conversations across the community